You should be transformed with the mind of Messiah.
Right.
You can't have the mind of Messiah and have the body of a devil.
And this just really goes to show the confusion that OSAS causes, because people don't understand what it really means to trust in your works. See, if works was necessary, we would say, oh, he couldn't go to heaven because he didn't have time to get time to go circumcised and get his start keeping these commandments and doing this and doing that and doing that, right? That would be trusting in works. But we acknowledge that it is faith. But it's just like, it's two things I want to compare it to. One, the prodigal son, right? At what point was he taken back in, right? It was the moment the father saw him.
Yeah.
The moment the father saw him, you are back in the family.
Yeah.
You are back in the family. But I'm sure if we got to see but we see how that prodigal son came back. He didn't come back with, I don't remember if it was you who put it like this, with 2 prostitutes on his arm.
Oh, no, but that's pretty good.
Yeah, right. Because that's what he went
He
to.
ain't have the thought about it.
Exactly.
Okay.
You see, he left his father's house and went and was now dwelling with prostitutes and
Loose living,
right? Loose living.
Yeah.
We assume things like that, right? Prostitutes, what? But he didn't come back with a 40 in his hand.
No.
He didn't come back with prostitutes on his arm.
He was broken.
Exactly. He came back home. He came back ready to be lower than his father's servants, or as low as his father's servants. He's like, you don't even got to restore me to the position of being like your son. I will gladly be your servant. That's the position he came with. And before he even had an opportunity to work out that faith, out that heart posture, the father took him in. Same thing with us. And so we know if that thief on the cross had an opportunity to come off that cross, right, and walk with the other brothers, he most certainly would have bore fruit, right?
Absolutely.
He most certainly would have, right? And so, okay, all right, so that's one thing. But it's another thing I will compare it to is like, let's say you're talking to a girl, right? And, you ask her to be your girlfriend, right? At what point is she your girlfriend? The moment she said yes.
Yeah.
The moment she said yes.
Yep.
Now, if a week later you catch her out dating another guy,
Yeah.
whoa, wait a minute.
We had an agreement.
Wait, I thought you was my girl.
Man.
What happened?
She everybody girl.
Exactly. I thought you was my. So it's the same thing, right? The moment you put you believe in Jesus and the real Jesus, the full Jesus, the Jesus of the Bible, right? The moment you believe in Jesus and believe what he says, the moment you said, I am dead. Today I die and I am reborn a Christian, right? Whether you got the opportunity to get immersed yet or not, which you most certainly should go get immersed. But the moment you say, I have died, my old man is dead and buried, and I have been born again, right? That's the point that you're justified in the eyes of God, right? Yeah. But if it's just like the parable of the fig tree that didn't bear fruit, right? The God comes around, right? Or the master comes around and says, yo, we need to root this up. It's not bearing fruit. Mm-hmm. And then the guy tending to it says, hey, give me some time. Let me dig around it, put some fertilizer, water it, tend to it.
Yeah.
And then if it still doesn't bear fruit in a year, I believe it was, then we'll get rid of it. And so that's the situation that we're in as Christians. You can't, you know what I'm saying? You if you look the same way you got in, right? And there, brother,
it's a problem.
You got some scripture to start reading.
The one I like is the fig tree. Jesus was hungry.
Yeah.
And he wanted to receive from the tree the fruit that it would produce.
Yup.
He goes up to it, and since there was no figs on it,
what do?
He cursed it. It literally disintegrated.
Withered, right.
In a second. And then what happens? He walks back. His disciples like, yo, dude, calm down. Like, it ain't the season for figs.
Yeah.
Why? Because we're called to produce in season and out of season.
Exactly.
And I believe that the Messiah's judgment of that fig tree was perfect.
Yep.
And, I gave a sermon once where I talk about the attorney of the fig tree. Mm-hmm. And the attorney will be like, well, it wasn't really the season for figs.
Yeah.
My client, the fig, did not expect the Messiah to come at this time and be hungry.
The 10 virgins.
Right? The lawyer is trying to make it sound better, right? But there's no excuse for not producing fruit all of the time. And we're not talking about perfection. We're talking about, are you growing progressively and getting closer with true intention and being
Yeah.
willing to change and not holding on to anything that the
Right.
Messiah is telling you to let go of.
100%. 100%. All right. I mean, I know this isn't the scripture, but this is just the King James subtitling it.
Yeah.
Look at the title they
Faith
put
brings
there.
righteousness.
Look at the title there. Faith brings righteousness,
Yeah,
right?
crazy.
Right? And it is not it is he that does righteousness that is righteous, right? But all right.